Okay, I'm gonna give this a try tonight. I might not get this done, but I was in a mood today. I had kind of a hard day, very tired, and didn't get a lot finished, but I've had on my mind finishing this video, so I thought, what the heck. Part of what I enjoy about making these is I do feel like I have a lot of control. I have a lot of control in when I videotape them, how I do it, what it looks like. Like right now, you guys are gonna see my crappy shelf. You can see more of my face because I'm videoing it different. You can see the cat. That's Lisa. You can see kind of my computer. But beyond that, let's see, what was I saying? I don't even know. Okay. So my part one video the last video was me discussing how my journey, like where my journey started as far as PDA and autism, how I got to where I'm at now. As I wanted to use this video to talk more about my autistic traits, just those traits specifically that were not obvious to me initially. So the biggest hurdle for me was my sociability, my ability to make this video, my ability, my skills. I do have skills with people in certain contexts, drama, like I said, speeches. If I was able to give speeches, it had to be a topic I was interested in, or I could find something interesting about it. It was almost impossible for me to force enthusiasm about topics that I am not into. So it just did not click, and even some of my family still, nobody's been real hard on me yet about saying that I am autistic, but some of them are like, I am very surprised, and that's okay. So, surprise is not a bad thing. It's a chance to ask questions and try to understand, and as long as that is the approach people have towards me, I don't mind, because it was a surprise for me too. So anyway, the test, so that conversation I mentioned having on Facebook about PDA and autism, and how I did not think I was autistic until someone was able to point out to me that PDA can alter some of the stereotypical autism traits, especially if the person's special interests are in relationships, which in my case is definitely the case. She shared a survey, or I guess it's not a survey, it's like a test, the informal test, not a real diagnostic tool, just something to kind of give you an idea of whether you may fit into a PDA profile and autism. And it does separate the two, so it doesn't assume an overlap. The first, how many questions? The first 50 questions are strictly PDA traits, and then the next 40 questions are autistic traits. By that time, though, when she had said about how, a special interest in people being a possibility, I kind of already had this, like, it was almost like a rumbling, like an instability feeling, like, oh, my world is about to shift. And I haven't had that happen very often in my lifetime, so it was unsettling and scary. I always have, which is an autistic trait, change has always been very hard for me to process. I get emotional about it, I get stressed, I get shut down. So it causes a lot of turmoil in me. So I just for this video, wanted to highlight a couple of the questions. I'm going to link the survey in the description of the video so that anybody who wants to take a look at it can. It was compiled by Riko. I don't know, I didn't write this part down. It was Riko's PDA. I spoke with Riko before on Facebook of things. I hope I'm getting that right. Anyway, apologies if I'm getting anything wrong. And SallyCat PDA. They're both vocal advocates, or, you know, just they get their voice out there, try to get their voice out there, educating about what it is like to have PDA, some of the misunderstandings from the neurotypical community, and some of the misunderstandings from the neurodivergent community. Both sides, there can be kind of some confusion. So those, I will link their pages as well in the description, but they were the two, and you can kind of see how the test was put together because they break it down in the description of the test. But in the PDA traits, I just want to talk about, let's see, it was question 7. It says, do you feel unable to control your reactions in a situation despite past experience? When I read that question, what came to mind for me was how I get really irritated at, I'm a caregiver for my dad, and hi Dad if you're watching this. We would butt heads sometimes over things, like over and over and over again, and every single time it happened, I would walk away feeling frustrated at myself because I was like, why can't I just calm down, you know? Why can't I? Because I would know, like, hey, this is what's going on, you know, especially if he got worried. So for me, if someone shows, if they're very vocal or expressive with their anxiety or their worries, now I know, I get overwhelmed. It overwhelms my brain, and I get either irritable or I shut down. A lot of times I get very irritable and snappy if it's someone I know. If it's someone I don't know, then I just try to get away from it. But if it's someone I know, I can be really rude about it. And it's just a comment too about why it's helpful to have a diagnosis, because since I've, you know, come to this realization about myself, I still have the same reactions inside, but I'm able to put less emphasis on my emotions. So I kind of try to avoid, like, it tells me that the responsibility is on me to step back and get away if I can from those situations, and not put that on my dad or put that on anybody else, that it's not their fault that I'm reacting the way I'm reacting, that it's okay for them to show feelings, it's okay for them to express anxieties or whatever, but I'm not going to handle it well, and hopefully they can respect that I need to take some space for that. So that question I found kind of interesting. The other question was, do you find it easy to do things you enjoy, such as hobbies or interests? So if you answered yes to that question, that you find it easy, then that would not apply to PDA. I definitely answered that as a no. So no, I do not find it easy to do the things I enjoy, such as hobbies or interests. I said a little bit about that in the last video, but that is because I get just pressure surrounding most of the things that I like doing. I've taken, some of that is because I try to take my passions and I've tried to turn them into careers, or I've tried to turn them into businesses from home, and it doesn't take very long at all, and I start to hate that hobby after a while. I mean, it's without fail, like every single thing I've done, and I really still enjoy, like, I've done plants, I've done planters, I've done like making custom planters, I did orchids, made custom orchids. I might show some pictures here as part of this video to show some of the work I've done. What else have I done? Painting, drawing, custom art. I've done, gosh, what else? I did singing for a while as part of like worship team. I love to sing. I love to sing on stage. Gosh, there's more. I always have a lot. Writing, I've done some writing. Yeah, that's just part of it. It's enough, I guess. So it's like I have tons of interests and hobbies, and every single one of them I inevitably, and again with this one maybe will too, shut down and just pull away from it. My goal right now, with that in mind, that does happen to me, is I'm in burnout mode still right now. I'm coming out the other side of burnout. But when I have energy right now, I've really been focusing on my space and trying to get everything organized and clear, so that when the mood strikes for a hobby or something, I can pretty easily pull it out. Because if it takes me like, oh, I have to look for this, this, and this, because I also have ADHD, so I just like forget it. I'm not going to do it. And it kind of gets depressing after a while. So, number 21. Okay. Have you had obsessions about certain people? I'd say high school, I was not very socially adept. I would usually find someone who was more dominant socially and kind of tag along with them. I had some friends, we would joke around a lot. That was kind of our connection point, was our sense of humor. But I obsessed more in those times, like a relationship, like this idea of being in a relationship, being with, finding a man or a boy, I guess at that point, that I would want to be with. And then I became a Christian when I was 18, became very passionate about religious studies, about studying the faith, and I started to gain a better grasp of, what would you say, like character development or spiritual development, emotional growth. So then I was connecting with people on that level, but I would normally have like one person that I was very, very close to. And I mean, to where people were joking like we were in a relationship. And it just, the thing was, is it would usually get too close and it would become complicated. And I'll avoid names here, but I had someone, this was before I got married, that I spent a lot of time with, and we had our faith in common, or we have our faith in common. And then things changed, and because I think of how enmeshed we were, it was very difficult to go through a transitional change. When I met my husband, we had to both kind of figure that out. I still think of her as a really good friend. We don't talk as often, it's more difficult now, but that's kind of been a pattern. I don't think of it as like I get close to people and then I'm done. I do sometimes get burned out on aspects of a relationship, but I always consider the people that I get close to as my lifelong friends. I just think it's hard because I'm not able to keep up the intensity that I can start out at, or I don't even have to start out at that intensity. It's just that intensity can happen and I can't maintain it. Another video, I'll go more into that, but that was just one point that I thought was interesting. And then just a few of the questions on the autism side. Number 3, it says, do you have intense special interests? I'm all about special interests, so that was an easy one. I was like, everything I get interested in is a special interest. I study. I like to become an expert. I don't always make it to, the furthest level. Sometimes I get bored of a topic before I make it all the way through. But I like to have a very good grasp of the things I get interested in, and I hyper focus for a while, 6 months to a year at a time. And let's see. This question, do you have sensory issues, tripped me up initially. I thought, I don't have sensory issues. Well, Here's some fun ones. Okay. So my friend Laura lived with us for a while, and I would drive her crazy because I would, in the evenings especially, I would go around flipping off all the lights. I still hate having on really bright artificial light. It just drives me crazy. I don't mind bright sunlight. I love sunlight. Like if I have windows and it's daytime, you know, bring it on. Like open the windows and have it be bright. But if it's artificial light, I am like, it just bugs me. It really bugs me. And so it feels loud to me. Like, yeah, it's a weird experience, but it feels noisy to me and distracting and draining. So, you know, I like in my bedroom, I have a ton of different sources of indirect light. I have these Christmas lights. I have really soft ambient kind of industrial lamp over by my bed. I have another lamp over by my husband's side of the bed. I just got those smart bulbs so I can adjust like the cool tone, warm tone. That's a lot of fun. Or how bright it is, how dim it is. That's been cool. Yeah, so it's this like recharging feeling to me when the lights are dim. Other things is like crumbs. I go, bah, it drains me to have to deal with too many crumbs in my bed. Oh my gosh, like if I have a lot of energy, if I'm like doing pretty well, I would change my sheets like every other day. I've done that before where I will change my sheets like every couple days because I love that feeling of the smoothness of the sheets. If I don't have energy, like I don't have that much right now, I will tolerate it. I just kind of hate it, and it doesn't help me to feel good. It doesn't help me to feel better. What else is there? Yeah, crumbs on the floor, socks on my feet, tags, the way clothes fit. I wear usually pretty loose fitting clothes. Like it has to be comfortable. I will not wear anything just for looks. No tolerance for that. I always forget what my sensory things are. I have a couple with food. Like if I eat frosting, buttercream frosting, I feel it like up here and I like it, but at the same time I can't eat very much of it, so I get this like, it hurts, it causes pain. That's one of the only things with sugar. I think that's only one of the food things that does that. I have some other food aversions, but that's pretty minor. Pretty minor. Sounds, that kind of is a parent thing though. I felt like loudness, I get angry. I had a lot of trouble, it's the cats, had a lot of trouble with my kids when they would wake up at night if they were really upset because I was not awake and in control of myself. I was normally very like angry, just angry, and then they were upset and angry, and they sleep better through the night now, so that's good. And this is a fun one. So I just picked this one for kicks because it's number 35. It says, do you tend to focus on people's hair? Especially those you like or something like that. I wasn't sure what this question meant. There's really no one in real life. Like I really like Laura's hair. I hope Laura watches this. I really like Laura's hair. So that's her. I don't stare at her hair or like touch her hair when she's around, but I do have a thing with like my favorite shows. So I do notice hair in my favorite shows. My favorite female characters is usually the women. I don't think the men's hair catches I notice it, but it doesn't entrance me as much as women's hair entrances me. So like I watch Bones. I'm rewatching Bones right now. Her hair, it's like, to me, she's inclined to like a certain hairstyle that I'm not crazy about, but season 6, when she finally ends up with Booth, I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't, it's about 10 years ago now, but anyway, so when she finally ends up with Booth, her hair in that episode, I'm like, oh, that's perfect. I love it. In fact, I'm waiting for my bangs to get cut because I love that, like bangs, kind of mid-length hair. So other show I like a lot that I'll rewatch often is Medium. And her hair too, she does the same thing, like bangs and then kind of an Egyptian, gives it kind of an Egyptian look. And also my favorite is Gillian Anderson in The X-Files. Tracking her hair through the series. We've rewatched it quite a few times, probably like 4 or 5 times since we've gotten married. Maybe more, I don't know. But every time we watch it, especially this last time, I notice her hair, I notice her eyebrows, and the progression. Like season 1, Scully hair, I think is my least favorite. And that's what fascinates me about her, is she's such a beautiful woman. I am entranced by her beauty. She's such a beautiful woman, and yet her season 1 hair is so frumpy to me, in my opinion, that she just doesn't, you can't tell. I'm like, I can't tell that she's amazingly gorgeous. And then I believe, so I just looked this up yesterday, I think it's also season 6 of the X-Files, or maybe it's, no, season 4. It's season 4 of the X-Files. And I plan to show pictures during this, so. Season 4 of the X-Files, her hair, there's like one episode and her hair is still kind of mostly frumpy to me, a little too long. And then like an episode or 2 later, it's just like sleek and shorter. And then there's this one episode, I think it's called Milagro, where this creepy dude is an author and he's like writing about these murders as they're happening. There's these like slow motion close-up shots of Scully and her hair, and I'm like, oh, it's just perfect. So that's kind of how I like to style my hair now. I don't do much with my appearance. Like, I'm not really fashionable, but I love that like kind of mid-length to shortish bob. If I've put on a little bit of weight, then the mid-length bob I like better, but if I can pull it off, I like a shorter bob too. Anyway, so I was just gonna share my totals. So after I took those 2 tests, the PDA, I scored 47 out of 50. Autism was 36 out of 40, and that's what's prompted me, as well as not being able to work anymore, has prompted me to seek an official diagnosis for my, my autism. I guess I'll end here by saying it took me a while. I think it took me about 3 weeks to come to terms with the change in how I thought of myself. I'm in a good place now with it. It's not, at first I thought, wow, do I have like this negative opinion of people who are autistic? Like, why am I having such this like dramatic, like tears, and panic? But it is not that. I mean, I'm sure there is some like stereotyping. Oh, cat's eating the fern. Hey, no. Stop eating my fern. Okay. I'm sure there is some of that going on, but basically for me what it was I had this hope that given time, given therapy, given the right treatment, I would not be limited by my PDA symptoms. I'm a very ambitious person. Anything I like to do, I wish to do really well. I wish to excel at, and I'm pretty bright. I'm not a genius, but I'm bright. I am charismatic. I feel like just there was a grieving process going through that of like, hey, this is not changing. This is who you are. And I've made it through the other side. I feel more optimistic now that if I can take care of myself and treat myself appropriately, that, maybe no, I won't have a label of a job, but I can still do the things I love and hopefully do them well and be happy and spend more time with my kids and feel good in my home. And so my goals just had to change, but I'm gonna cut this video short here because I went past my 20-minute limit again. I'll get better on the time thing, but appreciate you watching again. Please feel free to leave any comments if I mess anything up. I'm new to the autistic community. I've already learned a bunch of things that I've misspoke on, and I am open to learning more about. So anyway, thank you though, everybody, for watching.